Imagine this, a wave of cheers exploding louder than a stadium final, camera lights flashing like they're trying to summon the sun, and a crowd that looks ready to faint just because someone mentioned BTS into a microphone. No, this is not the opening of a fantasy movie or some ancient prophecy. This is real life, real fans, and real chaos happening all across the United States. And today, we're diving right into the middle of that whirlwind. But hold on, don't picture anything dramatic yet. We're not talking about plot twists, scandals, or any secret rehearsal footage smuggled out of a backstage closet. We're talking about something way more unpredictable. The way USA fans try to pick their most beloved BTS members. Yep, that impossible mission, that emotional roller coaster, that chaotic group project where everyone claims to be objective, but we all know someone is about one coffee away from starting a full-on debate tournament. Because if there's one thing American Army is known for, besides turning every concert into a miniature earthquake, it's how passionately, loudly, and hilariously they fight for their fave. And this time, they actually tried ranking them. Yes, ranking. As in putting the 7 members into an order. Like that's even a thing humans can do without crying or accidentally offending 3 different fandom subgroups. But the way they did it, legendary. You'll hear stories of fans who prepared like they were going to court, fans who refused to answer because my heart isn't built for betrayal, and others who took this as seriously as a national election. There were arguments, hugs, TikTok reactions, questionable logic, and moments of enlightenment that honestly deserved documentary-level analysis. Yet despite the chaos, the energy was wild, in the best way. Because when USA fans talk about BTS, there's always that unique vibe, a mix of sincerity, obsession, humor, confession, nostalgia, and just a little bit of emotional damage. And of course, the big question keeps echoing in the background. Who ended up at number 1? Relax, we're not jumping into that yet. What matters right now is this electric atmosphere, this build-up, this feeling that you're about to witness the kind of ranking process that should honestly require safety helmets and emotional waivers. So get ready, buckle up, hydrate, stretch your neck, do whatever you need, because the countdown is about to begin, and once it starts, there's no going back. The USA Army has spoken, and their answers will absolutely melt your brain before anything else melts your heart.
Number 7. The chill charmer who sneaks into everyone's heart. You know that one friend who never tries too hard, never screams for attention, never starts drama, but somehow ends up being the person everybody talks about at the end of the night? That's exactly the vibe USA fans kept mentioning when this member's name showed up in the survey. And the funniest part? Almost every fan had the same intro sentence before giving their explanation. Okay, so he's not my bias, but... And once you hear a line that starts like that, you already know you're about to witness a confession disguised as an excuse. The chill charmer has that magical skill of making people comfortable without even trying. Fans kept describing encounters at concerts or fan events where they didn't even expect to pay attention to him, but suddenly found themselves staring like, wait, since when is he this adorable? It's like he has this stealth mode charm that activates at random. And USA fans absolutely live for that kind of surprise attack. Some fans talked about how his calm presence feels like a warm blanket after a long day, like the human version of a comfort playlist. Others said he's the type who could just sit silently in the corner and somehow still radiate enough main character energy to break the Wi-Fi. And then there's the whole comedic aspect. Apparently, American fans have a weakness for someone who looks innocent but occasionally drops comments that hit harder than a plot twist. They love the accidental funniness, the low-key sarcasm, the moments where he tries to act cool but ends up being 10 times cuter than intended. Several fans even mentioned that he gives off the vibe of a guy who would show up to a party with snacks nobody asked for but everybody ends up loving, like he's unintentionally reliable. And let's talk about the stage presence. USA Army loves duality, and this member has one of the strongest cases of, wait, who is that on stage and where did my soft boy go? Fans said it feels like watching someone press a hidden button labeled Activate Superstar Mode and suddenly the chill, quiet guy becomes a walking thunderstorm with perfect lighting. And every time this happens, you can almost hear fans screaming from different states, he did not just do that. Many fans admitted they ranked him high simply because he feels like the member you could actually have a normal conversation with. Like, he could sit in a cafe, sip iced coffee, and talk about life without turning it into a philosophical TED Talk. One fan even said he feels like the type to help you carry groceries but also accidentally drop something because he got distracted by a dog. And weirdly enough, that specific scenario made complete sense to a lot of people. Another big factor? His growth. USA fans love character development arcs, and this member has one of the most heartwarming trajectories. From the early debut days where he seemed unsure and a bit quiet, all the way to now, more confident, more expressive, more self-assured, fans couldn't stop talking about how proud they felt watching him evolve. They said it's like watching your shy friend slowly become the funniest and most relaxed version of themselves without losing their original sweetness. Some fans even joked that he's the ultimate plot twist character because at first you think he's this peaceful, simple guy, but then you find out he's secretly good at everything: dancing, singing, cooking, joking, comforting, destroying hearts with one smile, like a hidden skill tree nobody warned you about. And don't even get fans started on how genuinely kind he seems. USA Army can smell sincerity from miles away, and this member's sincerity hits them like a truck every single time. They love the way he listens, the way he reacts to the other members, the way he tries his best even when he's unsure. One fan said he feels like he hugs people with his eyes. And honestly, that's one of the most accurate and chaotic compliments ever created. But the real reason he sits at number 7, fans admitted it's because everyone else is dangerously lovable and someone had to go in this spot. But even then, they emphasized that number 7 in the BTS ranking still feels like winning the emotional Olympics. And honestly, they're not wrong, because at the end of the day, this member is the definition of a quiet favorite. The one who sneaks into your heart without knocking, rearranges the furniture, waters your plants, and suddenly you're wondering when you started smiling every time you heard his name.
Number 6. The unexpected firecracker who turns calm moments into chaos. If number 7 was the sneaky charmer who glides into your heart, number 6 is the one who barges in like, "Hey, did you miss me?" And suddenly the room is 3 times louder, 10 times funnier, and somehow way more emotional than anyone planned. USA fans had a field day describing him because apparently this member has the rare gift of being both the life of the party and the softest emotional marshmallow depending on the hour, the lighting, or whether he had enough sleep. And honestly, American armies eat that duality like it's a buffet. One fan said he's unpredictable in the most predictable way, which sounds like a contradiction until you remember who we're talking about. This member has energy that feels like a spark plug directly into a confetti cannon. One minute he's cracking jokes that make the whole group collapse, and the next he's dropping deep, heartfelt thoughts that make fans stare at the screen like they're suddenly in a documentary about personal growth. USA fans love that about him. A lot of fans started their explanation with something like, "Every time he appears, I know something's about to happen," which, let's be honest, is true. He's the walking embodiment of "you'll never get bored with me," and that's basically catnip for American audiences. They adore someone who can switch between playful chaos and emotional honesty without making it feel forced. And this member, he does it naturally, as if he was born with a scriptwriter inside his brain, going, "Okay, time for a comedic moment, now switch to heartwarming introspection, perfect, now confuse them with one random comment." Stage-wise, he's another anomaly that USA fans kept bringing up. When this member performs, it's like he activates some internal superpower that transforms his entire aura. Fans said watching him dance feels like watching a firework that knows exactly what it's doing. Powerful, explosive, perfectly timed, but still artistic enough to make people emotional without knowing why. Several fans described him as unreasonably charismatic, which is honestly one of the best phrases anyone could ever receive. But the reason he's so beloved in the US isn't just his performance skills, it's his personality. Fans talked endlessly about how this member has that all-American interview energy. Witty, fast, expressive, and not afraid to throw in a dramatic reaction that ends up becoming a meme template for the next 3 months. He's effortlessly funny in the type of way that late-night hosts absolutely adore. Quick responses, adorable awkwardness, jokes that hit, and reactions that go viral instantly. One fan wrote, "He's the type of guy who'd forget what he was saying halfway through a sentence, but somehow still make it the funniest part of the day."
And another fan followed it with, he'd also apologize 3 times for the confusion, pat someone's shoulder, and then accidentally say something profound without meaning to. That combination, chaos plus sincerity, is exactly why American armies feel deeply connected to him. There's something very human about the way he navigates the world. He's confident but still shy at times, loud but also gentle, talented but humble to the point of making fans yell at their screens, "Please recognize your own greatness." There were so many comments from fans saying they feel protective of him, not because he's weak, but because he has this vulnerable side that appears at the most unexpected moments, usually right after he's finished making everyone laugh. He's the type to cheer up everyone around him, but forget to check on himself. And that hits American fans right in the emotional kneecaps. But here's the part that fans kept repeating. They admire his growth. The way he's slowly become more confident, more comfortable, more true to himself. USA armies love a character arc, and this member's arc is basically award-winning. They've seen him overcome doubts, push through challenges, and shine brighter every year. And it makes them feel proud in a way that's hard to describe without sounding like an over-invested parent at a school talent show. Of course, there were also the fans who simply said, he's bias wrecker material, that's it, that's the explanation. And honestly, respect, because it's true. He has the exact combination of charm, talent, humor, and emotional depth that sneaks up on people and wrecks their carefully organized bias lists. It's almost a hobby for him at this point. So, why number 6? Fans said it felt criminal to put him here, but with BTS, ranking is basically choosing between 7 different types of emotional damage. Someone has to be number 6, but even at this spot, he's still a fan-favorite powerhouse who could climb higher on any given day depending on which clip goes viral on TikTok. Because this member is unforgettable. He brings joy, chaos, sincerity, and warmth in ways that stick with people long after the video ends. Number 5. The golden heartthrob who turns every moment into a movie scene. If you thought the emotional chaos peaked at number 6, think again, because number 5 is where USA fans collectively started losing their ability to speak in full sentences. This member has that rare cinematic kind of presence, the type where someone walks onto a stage, blinks once, and suddenly the entire crowd is acting like they're witnessing the final episode of a long-running romance drama. And the funniest part? He doesn't even have to try. Fans kept repeating the same phrase over and over. He just exists and I fall apart. And honestly, yeah, accurate. Completely accurate. American armies love someone who brings that mix of timeless charm and modern cool. And this member? He's practically the blueprint. One fan described him perfectly. He looks like he walks straight out of a movie trailer. But then he opens his mouth and suddenly he's the sweetest human being alive. That duality, mysterious on the outside, soft and slightly chaotic on the inside, is exactly what keeps USA fans hooked. And every time he smiles, laughs, or even raises an eyebrow, thousands of people across the country immediately start rethinking their entire bias lineup. This member has that dangerous bias-wrecking aura that sneaks up on people with the speed of a flying shoe in a sibling fight. One moment you're chillin', loyal to your bias, and the next moment he appears on screen with one cute expression, and suddenly you're Googling interviews, fan cams, and analyzing his zodiac compatibility like you're preparing for marriage. And trust me, fans admitted it without shame. But here's the thing. USA fans don't just love him for his looks, though yes, they talked about his visuals like they were describing a national monument. What they truly adore is the way he blends confidence with a surprising amount of softness. He's like the guy who seems super cool, but suddenly gets shy when someone compliments him. Fans love that. They live for that. Many fans talked about his personality like it was a character study. They said he gives off mysterious but approachable energy, like someone who would be the star athlete in a teen movie, but also the first one to help you pick up your dropped groceries at the store. He has this gentle politeness, a warmth in his tone, and a kind of old soul vibe that makes people feel instantly comfortable. And then there's his voice. Oh wow, USA fans went feral describing his voice. They talked about how he hits every note with this rich, smooth tone that feels like it was designed specifically to ruin people emotionally. Some fans even described his voice as the audio version of melted chocolate. And while that sounds funny, it's honestly not far from the truth.
He has this way of delivering lines, soft, emotional, or powerful, that makes people feel like they're floating or having an existential crisis, depending on the performance. And don't even get fans started on his stage charisma. They described it as too powerful for one human being. He's intense yet controlled, passionate yet elegant, like someone who was born to perform. One fan from New York said, "He could stand still on stage and I would still scream like he just invented live music." The dramatic energy, the expressive eyes, the subtle smirks, it's all too much for American armies to process without pausing the video at least 3 times. But what moved fans the most was his emotional intelligence. They kept talking about how he seems extremely thoughtful, how he listens, how he reacts, how he comforts other members, how he expresses gratitude to fans in such a raw, genuine way. There's this sense of depth to him that makes people feel safe. USA Army said he's the kind of person who could casually drop one heartfelt sentence that would make them rethink all their life decisions. He speaks gently, honestly, and with sincerity that hits people right in the chest. And behind all of that, there's his growth. USA fans are obsessed with how much he has evolved, vocally, emotionally, personally. He's become more confident, more self-assured, more open, and fans adore seeing him step into his power without losing the sweetness that made them fall in love with him in the first place. They said watching him grow feels like watching someone finally see their own worth, and it's unbelievably moving. Of course, the comedy factor is also strong here. Fans repeatedly mention his unintentionally funny moments. When he says something slightly confusing, when he makes a face that becomes an instant meme, or when he tries to act tough but ends up looking like a baby bird trying to scare a cat. USA Armies love that contrast. It's charming, it's adorable, and it keeps them emotionally unstable in the best way. So why is he at number 5? Fans said it was painful to place him here because some days he's easily number 1. But in a group where every member hits like a different emotional lightning bolt, the rankings shift depending on the mood, the weather, or which clip you watched last night at 2 a.m. Even at number 5, he stands strong as one of the most beloved, most admired, and most heart-melting members according to USA fans. A walking movie scene, a soft-hearted king, a living emotional hazard. And absolutely unforgettable.
Number 4. The wild-card genius who makes fans laugh, cry, and reevaluate their whole life in one afternoon. If the earlier members shook USA fans emotionally, number 4 is the one who grabbed them by the collar, spun them around, made them laugh until their ribs hurt, and then, just when they least expected it, dropped a piece of wisdom so deep it felt like getting hit by a philosophy textbook. This member is the ultimate wildcard. The one you can never accurately predict because every time you think you finally understand his personality, he switches into a completely different gear and leaves you blinking at the screen like, "Sir, please pick one personality at a time. I'm tired." And that's exactly why USA fans adore him. They love someone who refuses to be pinned down, someone who keeps life interesting. Someone whose presence feels like a combination of a surprise party, a late-night therapy session, and a chaotic road trip with questionable directions. Fans described him as the human equivalent of a creative explosion, which sounds dramatic until you listen to literally any interview he's ever done. One moment he's being silly, throwing jokes like confetti, and the next moment he's speaking with this poetic depth that makes people stare at their phones like, "Why am I suddenly emotional? I was just laughing 3 seconds ago." American armies love that contrast. They love that he can be the funniest person in the room, but also the one who says something so sincere that everyone goes silent for a second. They say it's refreshing, relatable, and honestly kind of dangerous because you never know what emotional state you'll be in by the time he finishes the sentence. Fans shared dozens of stories about how this member caught them off guard. One fan said, "I clicked on a video expecting jokes, and suddenly I'm crying because he said one inspirational sentence about growth." Another fan said, "He's the type to clown around for 20 minutes and then randomly say something so profound it feels illegal." And the funniest one? He could trip over air, laugh at himself, and then 5 minutes later give a speech that belongs in a museum. That's the chaotic beauty USA fans can't get enough of. His creativity is another big reason he ranked this high. Fans talked endlessly about how unbelievably talented he is, not just in the obvious ways, but in all the little things he does without even trying. They love his ideas, his humor, his artistic instincts, the way he expresses himself with zero filter, but somehow always lands at the perfect emotional tone. One fan summed it up perfectly. He's like an unedited documentary, authentic, hilarious, emotional, messy, meaningful, and somehow still beautiful. On stage, USA fans see him as an absolute powerhouse. They described his performances as controlled chaos in the best possible way. He's expressive, explosive, passionate, and unbelievably charismatic. There's a certain intensity to him when he performs, like he throws his entire soul into every movement, every note, every moment. Fans said they can always feel his sincerity radiating off the stage, even from the back row of a stadium. And then there's his voice. Oh boy. American fans went absolutely feral describing the way he sings. They talked about his tone, unique, emotional, textured, like it carries a lifetime of stories inside it. One fan wrote, "Listening to him sing is like hearing someone tear pages out of their diary, but in a beautiful way." Another said, "His voice makes me feel things I haven't processed yet." And we're not even getting into the comedic side, because according to American armies, this member is unintentionally one of the funniest human beings alive. He has the timing of a stand-up comedian without even trying to be one. His reactions, his expressions, his commentary, fans said he is the chaos generator of the group, the funniest without knowing it, and the reason my TikTok feed is 80% BTS clips. But beyond all the humor and artistry, what USA fans love most is his heart. They talked so much about how genuine he is, how he feels things deeply, expresses them honestly, and never hides his vulnerability. He's the type who will speak openly about fears, hopes, insecurities, dreams, and everything in between. That kind of honesty makes fans feel connected to him in a very real way. He sees himself as someone who's always trying, always improving, always striving to be better, not because he wants validation, but because he genuinely wants to grow. USA fans find that incredibly inspiring. Many fans admitted that his words helped them through difficult times. They said his reflections, his encouragement, and even his chaotic rants made them feel understood. One fan wrote, "He doesn't just entertain me, he reminds me I'm human." So, why number 4? Fans said it feels like a position he earned through pure energy, through talent, humor, honesty, creativity, and that signature unpredictability that keeps everyone on their toes. He's the member who can make fans laugh until they snort, tear up without warning, and suddenly reflect on their whole life all before the video reaches the 5-minute mark, and that's exactly why he's unforgettable. Number 3. The magnetic mastermind who makes fans feel like they're witnessing greatness in real time. Now we're entering dangerous emotional territory, because number 3 is where USA fans started sounding like they were giving acceptance speeches at an award show they weren't even invited to. This member inspires that kind of dramatic devotion. He's the one who makes fans sit up straighter, breathe deeper, and suddenly feel like they're watching a once-in-a-generation figure shaping the entire atmosphere around him. USA armies didn't just like him, they studied him like a college major. They analyzed his interviews, broke down his lyrics, paused his performances frame by frame, and somehow ended up writing emotional essays in the comments section about how he changed the algorithm of their heart. Yes, that happened. And honestly, understandable, because this member has a different kind of pull. Quiet but powerful, intense but comforting, sharp yet warm. When he walks into a room, the energy shifts like someone just dimmed the lights and turned on a spotlight without telling anyone. Fans described him as magnetic without trying. He's not loud, he's not flashy for the sake of being flashy. He's just present, fully, deeply, effortlessly present. USA fans love that. One fan said, "He is the type of aura that makes you focus even if you don't want to." Another said, "He's the kind of person who could just be drinking water and I'd still feel like I'm watching character development." And maybe the most accurate comment of all, "When he talks, I feel like he's unlocking a part of my brain that's been offline for years." His intelligence, emotional, artistic, introspective, was mentioned by literally everyone. People described him as thoughtful, observant, deeply reflective, and somehow always 3 steps ahead in understanding the moment. But here's the thing. USA armies didn't fall for him because he's smart. They fell for him because his brain seems to operate in a completely different galaxy. But he explains things in a way that makes you feel like you're sitting next to him on a couch, sharing a snack, having a casual chat about the meaning of existence. Fans said that listening to him speak feels like hearing a very wise friend who's also weirdly relatable. He can drop a profound line about life, but he can also completely lose his train of thought and laugh at himself. That balance, deep yet approachable, is rare, and USA fans cling to it like emotional lifeboats. But let's talk about the stage. Oh my. USA fans practically wrote epic poems about his stage presence. Don't worry, we won't get poetic here. They said he performs like he feels every beat in his bones. Passionate yet controlled. Powerful yet graceful. Intense yet beautiful. The type of performer who makes the arena feel smaller and bigger at the same time, like everything narrows down to him while also expanding beyond the stage. Fans described him as a force of nature in slow motion, which makes sense if you've ever seen the way he moves. Deliberate, confident, expressive. Even the tiniest gesture, a turn of the head, a glance, a smirk, can send an entire stadium into full meltdown mode. And then there's his voice. America practically adopted his voice as a national emotional support resource. Rich, deep, warm, steady, comforting, and somehow always carrying a story within it. Van said it feels like he's talking directly to them even when he's singing in front of 50,000 people. One fan wrote, his voice feels like a conversation with someone who actually listens. Another said, he could read a grocery list and I'd still need a moment to recover. But here's where things get intense. Fans talked a lot about his maturity, not in a boring, responsible way, but in the way he handles emotions, stress, leadership, creativity, and growth. USA Army said this member feels like the emotional backbone of the group, not because he tries to be, but because he genuinely understands how to support, guide, or simply be present. He's naturally grounding, calm, reassuring, the type of person who brings stability without even saying a word. Fans adore that. They trust him emotionally without ever having met him, and they admire the way he's grown into himself, more expressive, more confident, more loving, more open, more brave. Many fans said watching him grow made them want to grow. That's the kind of influence he has. But the comedy is strong too. USA fans said he's unintentionally hilarious, just slightly awkward at times, extremely serious about random things, and occasionally giving reactions so honest they become instant meme templates. They love when he gets flustered, when he tries to explain something and spirals into a tangent, or when he laughs so hard he folds in half. He's the quiet comedy gold that sneaks up on you. So why number 3? Fans said he's consistently unforgettable. He's the one who stays in their mind even after they close the video. He's the one whose words replay long after the clip ends. He's the one whose presence feels too iconic to rank any lower, but also too emotionally dangerous to rank any higher without risking permanent bias list damage. Number 3 is the perfect spot for someone who feels like the calm center of a hurricane, powerful, steady, impossible to ignore, and deeply, deeply beloved.
Number 2. The all-American sweetheart who turns every fan into a mess with just one look. Now this is where the emotional stakes get absolutely ridiculous, because USA fans did not hold back when talking about number 2. The tone of their comments shifted from, haha, he's so cute, to, I would give him my last slice of pizza, my Wi-Fi password, and possibly my soul in about half a second. This member is the one Americans treat like a national treasure they somehow borrowed from South Korea and must protect at all costs. According to fans, he's the comfort character, the emotional support human, and the definition of lovable chaos packaged in a gorgeous face. One fan even said, if he asked me to run laps, I'd do it, no questions. And honestly, same energy across the board. American armies have a particular weakness for someone who is effortlessly adorable, but also dangerously talented, and this member fits that description so perfectly it's almost suspicious. He has this childlike spark in his eyes, this bright, enthusiastic energy that makes you feel like he genuinely loves being alive, even when he's tired. And USA fans absolutely melt for that kind of open-hearted joy. They love that he wears his emotions like an LED billboard. Whether he's excited, confused, proud, or fighting the urge to laugh, you can see everything in real time. American audiences adore authenticity, and this member is basically the human embodiment of real, raw, and ridiculously charming. USA fans said he feels like someone you've known forever, like the childhood friend who grew up to be stunning, hilarious, wholesome, and somehow still humble. They love his warmth, his innocence, his goofy humor, the way he bounces around with pure enthusiasm like he's powered by bubble tea and glitter. And at the same time, he's an absolute powerhouse on stage. Fans said his switch between Sweet Baby Angel and Oh No, I'm Suddenly Attracted and Confused is one of the greatest plot twists of their fandom experience. On stage, he becomes someone else. Fierce, vibrant, explosive, charismatic, like the entire arena just hands him its electricity the moment he steps out. One fan wrote, "I came to the concert calm, I left needing therapy because of him." Another said, "If duality were illegal, he'd be serving a life sentence." His dancing, pure energy, sharp, precise, expressive, and full of emotion. Fans said he dances like the music is physically controlling his limbs, like he's built for movement, like he's telling a story even without words. And let's be honest, USA fans love a performer who gives 110% every single time. They love passion, commitment, physicality, and this member has all of that in spades. His vocals, that's another emotional disaster zone. Bright, sweet, expressive, and filled with so much feeling that fans said it's like hearing sunshine with a side of heartbreak. There's something very pure and youthful about his voice, but at the same time, it carries depth. Like he understands emotions in a way he can't fully explain, but somehow sings perfectly. One fan said, his voice feels like a hug and a pep talk at the same time. Another said, he could sing the alphabet and I'd still cry. But here's where fans really lose it. His growth. USA Armies are obsessed with his journey. How he went from shy, insecure, and unsure of his abilities to confident, expressive, and undeniably powerful. They said watching him improve is like watching a flower bloom in slow motion, but with 4K resolution and dramatic soundtrack. Fans repeatedly mentioned how proud they are of him, how he pushes himself, challenges himself, and never stops learning. He grows in every direction, singing, dancing, mindset, maturity, humor, comfort with fans, comfort with himself. And American fans, being the sentimental chaos gremlins they are, latch onto that story like it's their own personal inspiration arc. But the comedic element, oh, it's strong. USA fans say this member is unintentionally one of the funniest people alive. He gets flustered easily, reacts dramatically, makes weird faces without realizing, and occasionally says things that sound like he downloaded the wrong language update. He's chaotic in a wholesome way, like a baby deer learning to walk while also being a top-tier performer. Fans love that he's a mix of superstar and confused toddler depending on the situation. They say it makes him feel more real, more human, and more lovable. And then there's his kindness. Oh boy. USA fans could write novels about his kindness. They talk about his gentle nature, his respect towards others, the way he compliments the members, the way he treats fans, the way he expresses gratitude, the way he tries so sincerely to be the best version of himself. He gives love without holding back. He gives kindness without hesitating. He gives comfort without even intending to. And that's the kind of personality American fans get emotionally attached to very quickly. So why number 2? USA fans said it was painful to rank him here because honestly, he could have been number 1 in any other situation. He's beloved, adored, cherished, protected, admired, like the fandom's emotional sunshine. But the person at number 1? Well, they hit Americans in a way that's almost unfair. Still, number 2 stands tall as one of the most heart-melting, joy-sparking, unbelievably lovable members of BTS, according to fans across the United States. He's comfort, he's chaos, he's talent, he's warmth. He's America's sweetheart, and they'll defend him like their emotional stability depends on it.
Number 1. The untouchable icon who has America in a full-blown chokehold. Mind, heart, and soul. Here it is, the final boss. The man USA fans placed at the very top with a level of confidence that bordered on religious certainty. When Americans talked about number 1, they didn't just share opinions. They testified. They wrote essays. They confessed sins. They admitted to life-changing moments. One fan literally said, "I wasn't even into K-pop, but then this man walked on screen and suddenly I was learning Hangul." This member is the one Americans describe using words normally reserved for Greek gods, Marvel superheroes, and the love interest in a romance movie who shows up at your door when it's raining.
USA armies agree on one thing. He is charisma weaponized. From the moment he appears, everything changes. Fans said he has what they call American main character energy, the kind of presence that's larger than life, powerful, impossible to look away from, and somehow feels like he's staring directly into your soul, even through a screen. They said he has the aura of someone who owns every room he walks into without trying, like gravity bends slightly in his favor. And the face. Oh, the face. USA fans speak about his visuals like they're describing Renaissance art. They use phrases like face card never declines, unrealistically attractive, dangerously gorgeous, and he looks like he was 3D printed by angels. His bone structure alone has fans questioning their entire existence. But it's not just beauty, it's intensity. He looks at the camera the way movie villains flirt right before the plot twist. One army wrote, "I'm convinced he knows exactly what he's doing. And honestly, I respect the crime." But what really put him at number one? The swagger. USA fans are weak, absolutely weak for confidence. And this member doesn't just have confidence, he radiates it like a supernova. Everything he does feels effortlessly cool. The walk, the posture, the smirk, the way he holds a mic, the way he adjusts his hair like he's in a shampoo commercial that could end someone's relationship. Americans live for that kind of energy. They see him as the definition of star power, someone who could headline any stage, anywhere, and still leave people screaming. Then there's the performance aspect. Fans describe his stage presence as illegal in at least 43 states. They said he performs like he's made of fire, fierce, explosive, magnetic, and dripping with attitude. Every move is sharp. Every expression is deliberate. Every moment feels like a cinematic event. One fan said, "He danced once and my taxes got filed." Another said, "His stare alone could fix the economy." Vocally, USA fans kept repeating the same thing. His voice is addictive. Smooth, deep, velvety, emotional, like hot chocolate in audio form. They said his tone feels rich and mature, the kind of voice you'd expect from a narrator in a luxury perfume commercial. It's unique, instantly recognizable, and full of texture that sends people straight into emotional chaos. They love that he can go from soft and breathy to powerful and commanding in a single line. It's the kind of voice that sticks with you even after the song ends. And then, oh yes, there's the attitude. This member has a personality that Americans describe as cool without trying, witty but calm, sarcastic in a sexy way, and the guy everyone wants, but nobody can actually handle. He speaks with this smooth confidence that feels both intimidating and strangely comforting. He doesn't chase attention. Attention chases him. But here's the unexpected part that made fans fall even deeper. Despite all the swagger and intensity, he's soft. So soft. USA fans lose their minds every time he smiles, gets shy, laughs unexpectedly, or shows affection to the other members. They say his gentle side hits even harder because it contrasts with his charismatic exterior. He'll look like a deadly celebrity one moment and a shy baby the next. And Americans eat that duality like it's their last meal. Another reason he ranks first? He feels iconic. Not just popular, iconic. Fans say he has the kind of energy that becomes legendary, the kind of presence people will talk about decades from now. He has that rare blend of charisma, beauty, talent, mystery, and emotional depth that hits Western audiences right in the chest. USA fans summed it up like this. He's not just a bias, he's a lifestyle. He's my Roman Empire. He's the reason I open TikTok. And my personal favorite, if being obsessed with him is wrong, I don't want to be right. So here he is, number one. The man who didn't just steal America's heart, he walked in, took the whole house, and Americans thanked him for it.
And that's it. Our wild, chaotic, emotional roller coaster of a journey through the hearts of USA armies finally comes to a close. If you survive this ranking without switching biases at least twice, congratulations, you're stronger than 97% of the population. Today, we didn't just see a list, we basically witnessed a nationwide psychological experiment disguised as fan opinions. From passionate confessions to dramatic overthinking to the kind of defense arguments you'd expect in a courtroom drama, USA fans proved once again that when it comes to BTS, the energy is always maximum overdrive. Each member brought something different, something unforgettable, something that left fans laughing, crying, screaming, spiraling, and Googling, "Why am I like this?" at 2 a.m. And honestly, that's the magic. That's the thing that turns a simple ranking into a full cultural event. Because BTS isn't just a group to American fans. They're an experience, a comfort zone, a source of chaos and healing at the same time. And whether someone landed at number 7 or number 1, every single member inspired stories, memories, and reactions that could power an entire 10-season documentary series. But as the lights dim, as the cheers settle, and as our imaginary camera zooms out dramatically like we're ending a Netflix special, one thing becomes crystal clear. No matter how fans rank them, the love is massive, loud, and absolutely unstoppable. So go ahead, hydrate, breathe, stretch your back, recover emotionally, or maybe go rewatch your favorite fan cam. You know you will. Because the USA Army has spoken for now. But their hearts? Oh, they're already preparing for the next round. And trust me, this story is far from over.